how you check your savings account and wonder why it never seems to grow the way you planned? You're doing everything right. Budgeting, cutting back on lattes, meal prepping, but somehow your purchasing power just keeps evaporating. While most people blame themselves for not saving harder, there's this invisible force that's been quietly draining your account for decades, and it has nothing to do with your willpower. It's geopolitics. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you will completely change how you see the relationship between world events and your wallet. Here's the thing. Most people think war happens over there and their money problems happen over here. Two completely separate universes. You watch news about tensions in the Strait of Hormuz, maybe you have an opinion about foreign policy, and then you go back to worrying about your credit card balance. The connection between those two things feels abstract, theoretical, like something economists argue about in journals you'll never read. But your brain is actually doing something fascinating when it processes geopolitical conflict. The further away something feels, geographically or conceptually, the less real it seems to your decision-making centers. A war 7,000 miles away doesn't trigger the same threat response as a $4 gallon of milk at your local grocery store, even when that war is the exact reason milk costs $4. Let me paint you a picture. It's 2025. You've got $12,000 in your savings account. You've been really disciplined this year. That money represents 6 months of emergency fund coverage, exactly what every financial advisor told you to build. You feel secure, responsible, like you've finally gotten your financial life together. Then tensions escalate in the Persian Gulf. Maybe it's a naval confrontation. Maybe it's strikes on oil infrastructure. Maybe it's a full conflict. Doesn't matter which specific scenario. What matters is what happens next. And this is where most people's understanding of cause and effect completely breaks down. Within 72 hours, oil futures spike. Brent crude goes from $75 to $110 per barrel. You might see a headline about it, you might not. Either way, you're not connecting it to your checking account because nothing has changed yet. Your balance still says $12,000. Your bills are still the same. Life continues exactly as before. But here's where it gets interesting. Over the next 4 to 6 weeks, a cascade starts. First, gas prices climb. You notice that. It's annoying. You're spending an extra $40 per month filling your tank. Frustrating, but manageable. You adjust. Maybe you combine errands. Drive a little less. Your brain files this under minor inconvenience, not financial crisis. Then the real damage begins, and this is the part nobody warns you about. Everything that moves on a truck, which is basically everything you buy, starts costing more. Not dramatically, not overnight, just steadily, quietly, relentlessly. Groceries creep up 8% over 3 months. Your electric bill rises because natural gas prices are tied to oil markets. Your rent increases because your landlord's costs increased. The $40 you saved on gas gets eaten by the extra $30 on groceries, the extra $25 on utilities, the extra $60 on everything else. 6 months in, your purchasing power has dropped by roughly 12%, but your savings account still shows $12,000. The number didn't change. Your perception of security didn't change, but that $12,000 now buys what $10,560 bought half a year ago. You just lost $1,440 in real terms without a single dollar leaving your account. A 2019 study from the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco tracked exactly this pattern during previous oil shocks. They found that households in the bottom 60% of income distribution, the people who need their savings most, lost an average of 18 months of purchasing power gains during major geopolitical disruptions. Not from spending more. Not from saving less. From inflation eroding the value of money they'd already saved. Now, before the comment section explodes, let me be clear about something. This isn't about whether any particular conflict is justified or necessary. This isn't a foreign policy debate. This is about understanding the mechanical relationship between geopolitical instability and your personal wealth, because that relationship is brutally simple and completely apolitical. About 20% of the world's oil supply passes through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran sits right on that choke point. Any disruption, any threat, any uncertainty about access to that route creates what economists call a risk premium. Traders aren't stupid. They price in the possibility of supply disruption before it actually happens. That risk premium gets baked into fuel costs, which gets baked into shipping costs, which gets baked into the price of literally everything. But here's something that'll mess with you. The actual supply doesn't even need to get disrupted for you to feel the financial pain. The mere expectation of disruption is enough. Your grocery bill isn't rising because tankers stopped moving. It's rising because traders think tankers might stop moving. This is where behavioral economics gets dark. You're not just fighting actual scarcity, you're fighting anticipated scarcity. You're fighting other people's fear, which becomes your inflation, which becomes your eroded savings. The psychology of millions of market participants, none of whom you'll ever meet, directly determines what your emergency fund can actually buy when you need it.